At the end of the field, I unloaded my burden on a scale. It weighed a pound and a half, and I got $1.50. Then I borrowed one of the Okie boys' bicycles and rode down 99 to a crossroads grocery store where I bought cans of cooked spaghetti and meatballs and bread and butter, coffee and cake, and came back with a bag on the handlebars. LA bound traffic zoomed by. Frisco bound harassed my tail. I swore and I swore. I looked up at the dark sky and prayed to God for a better break in life and a better chance to do something for the little people that I loved. Nobody was paying attention to me up there. I should have known better. It was Bee who brought my soul back. On the tent stove, she warmed up the food, and it was one of the greatest meals of my life. Sighing like an old cotton picker, I reclined on the bed and smoked a cigarette. Dogs barked in the cool night. Freddie and Ponzo had given up calling in the evenings. I was satisfied with that. Bee curled up beside me. Raymond sat on my chest as they drew pictures of animals in my notebook. The light of our tent burned on the fruitful plain. The cowboy music twanged in the roadhouse and carried across the fields all sadness. It was all right with me. I kissed my baby and we put out the lights. In the morning, the dew made the tent sag. I got up with my towel and toothbrush and went to the General Motel toilet to wash. Then I came back, put on my pants, which were all torn from kneeling in the earth and had been sewn by Bee in the evening, put on my ragged straw hat, which had originally been Raymond's toy hat, and went across the highway with my canvas cotton bag. Every day I earned approximately $1.50. It was just enough to buy groceries in the evening on the bicycle. The days rolled by. I forgot all about the East and all about Neil and Alan and the bloody road. Raymond and I played all the time. He liked me to throw him up in the air and down on the bed, and Bee sat mending clothes. I was a man of the earth precisely as I had dreamed I would be back in Ozone Park. There was talk that Bee's husband was back in Selma and out for me. I was ready for him. One night the Okies went mad in the roadhouse and tied a man to a tree and beat him to a pulp with sticks. I was asleep at the time and I only heard about it. From then on, I carried a big stick with me in the tent, in case they got the idea we Mexicans were fouling up their trailer camp. They thought I was a Mexican, of course, and I am. But now it was getting on in October and getting much colder in the nights. The Oakley family had a wood stove and planned to stay for the winter. We had nothing, and besides the rent for the tent was due. Bee and I bitterly decided we'd have to leave. Go back to your family, I gnashed. For God's sake, you can't be batting around tents with a baby like Raymond. The poor little tyke is cold. Bee cried because I was criticizing her motherly instincts. I meant no such thing. When Ponzo came back in the trunk one gray afternoon, we decided to see her family about the situation. But I mustn't be seen and would have to hide in the vineyard. We started for Selma. The truck broke down and simultaneously it started to rain wildly. We sat in the old truck cursing. Ponzo got out and toiled in the rain. He was a good guy after all. We promised each other one more big bat. And off we went to a rickety bar in Selma, Mextown, and spent an hour sopping up the brew. I was through with my chores in the cotton field. I could feel the pull of my own life calling me back. I shot my mother a penny postcard and asked for another 50 across the land. We drove to Bee's family shack. It was situated on an old road that ran between the vineyards. It was dark when we got there. They left me off a quarter mile up and drove to the door. Light poured out of the door. Bee's 6 other brothers were playing their guitars and they were singing. The old man was drinking wine. I heard shouts and arguments. They called her a whore because she'd left her no-good husband and gone to L.A. and left Raymond with them. But the sad, fat, brown mother always prevailed, as she always does, among the great fellaheen peoples of the world, and Bee was allowed to come back home. The brothers began to sing gay songs. I huddled in the cold, rainy wind and watched everything across the sad vineyards of October in the valley. My mind was filled with that great song, Lover Man, as Billie Holiday sings it.